Hello, resonators, and if you look at this revenue chart, it's looking very bad for Wuthering Waves. It's lower than even Zenless Zone 0 now. The thing you have to understand about this is we were promised actual optimization fixes, but the game still runs like shit. And as you can see here, my friend with an RTX 3070 still very occasionally gets framerate dips, and as for me with my RTX 2060 Super, even turning the game to all low with all graphics enhancements off still gives me framerate issues, and this shit game can just never run at an actual stable frame rate, which is very irritating. Especially when any other game, Genshin, Honky Starbucks, and Sleeping Zero still run way better and have no frame rate issues at all, and I have every setting on in each of them. Even when you boot up the game with DirectX 11, it still runs like ass, which it says it's supposed to fix anomalies, which I considered to maybe be their way of optimization, but now I'm pretty sure it's just a case of rendering issues, which a majority of people don't have, so this is such a useless option. It might as well not even be there. Well, just get a better PC. Yeah, I just have money that I can show for that. That's so helpful. Thank you so much. Genuinely though, this argument is stupid. My PC can run a majority of games that are new completely fine, but can't run this one on the lowest settings. As I said, that's a problem that needs fixing, especially when you've been through thread after thread of how badly optimized the game is. If anyone's going to this thread, it's not that he's wrong by saying it's compatibility and performance bugs. What is wrong is that it isn't about optimization when it 100% is. Compatibility and performance bugs are included, not excluded. I'm not saying you should be a dick about how bad the optimization is, but you should absolutely voice it because it is absolutely true. I don't know if you guys have played or seen Shorekeeper, but she unironically sucks, and a major reason for this is just the fact that her shoes are actually the worst thing ever. Like, how the hell is she standing with these imbalanced shoes? Any person would actually fall on their ass.
I've fallen! And I can't get up!
So I can only assume this game's logic of gravity is actual dog shit. Also that all she does really is buff and heal, and since we already have a Spectro that already does that in the game, we don't need her blue ass. And don't pretend that the boobs aren't the only reason you obtained this character. If you say you got this character for any other reason, you're just lying, and we all know about it. But joking aside, she's very cool. Aside from her shoes, that design's decision is actually just horrible. The story of this version though is actually pretty good, and I actually like some of the gameplay here since it was very reminiscent of Portal 2. Like, even here, look at this achievement.
I am not a moron!
Yes, you are!
Truly a gaming moment of the world. And I'll genuinely say that some of the story here actually made me sad. I quite literally got too immersed in the world. Shorekeeper's part of the story was really interesting for me, although the whole trope of being a tool and a tool only for a purpose is like, we've seen that in so much fucking shit now, and it's become cliche. Although the area of the Black Shores as a whole is interesting since this has been an area we knew of for so long, so now to be there is quite an experience. Still, that means that there is passion here, but that passion only really goes so far when you look at other games like Zenless Zone 0, which has better animation. Why is this a problem? Because something I've noticed as I continue to play Zenless Zone 0 is that it's not boring in its animations. Meanwhile, I look at Wuthering Waves, and unless it's a fully animated cutscene, which still gets frame rate issues by the way, actual scenes with dialogue here aren't well animated at all, and in a matter of sense look as lifeless as Genshin Impact, which I'd like to say it isn't, but even I played Genshin recently, and so when I have that knowledge, it's hard not to think that the actual scenes with dialogue in Wuthering Waves are lazy just like Genshin. They could have done something that makes the player feel more connected in these scenes. Even a little bit of more movement between dialogues would help this greatly. I did like the story though regardless, and the storytelling despite being at a slow pace is decent, and I think that it is better like the Genshin when it comes to this. I think the combat is probably the best part of this game. Intro skills, outro skills, E-skill, resonance liberation, and as well as echo skills, which makes the game very dynamic, and it feels extremely good to play with the addition of perfect dodges and parries, as it allows the player some freedom of any level, which makes the skill ceiling much higher than any other game. I love hard combat as it reminds me of Elden Ring and Dark Souls, and I absolutely love those games. I know Zenless Zone 0 does this too, but its combat system isn't the exact same, I think. There are much differences, but back to it, every fight I've fought in this game has been a lot of fun, despite being underleveled because I don't play the game enough. Fuck it. Which is always why I have a lot of fun with trial characters that you can use if your own characters aren't good enough, which believe me, I think that this is great as it gives me more reason to level up my own since some obviously aren't available. I unfortunately haven't played Tower of Adversity, but I hear it's like Spiral, so I don't know if I'll actually play it, but who knows what the future holds. What I do know is this combat will go down in history as one of the best a gacha has ever had. The music is quite good in this game. Not sure how to explain it, but it feels very engaging with the world and makes exploring feel quite nice. I don't always feel this way about music, but I think it's very special and it makes Shorekeeper's story more fleshed out. I'll leave a playlist below for you guys. I do think the grind is way better managed in this game compared to Genshin, as we have an overcap system. Although it isn't gonna beat out Zenless Sun Zero, it's still a much needed and much better system than Genshin's, and the rewards we get from events and stuff only support that grind, which makes the game a lot more fun and less like a chore. Unlike Genshin fucking trash, which is absolutely good. And as for the exploration, I do think it is a bit of a lot, but when it comes to new areas like the Black Shores, I'm definitely willing to explore because it's refreshing. Not to mention the exploration is just many minutes faster than Genshin's ever will be, which makes this pretty amazing still. Echoes are just artifacts, but better, so you know how this shit works. 2-piece set effect, 5-piece set effect, yada yada. But something that is cool is you can use your main set piece as an attack, so it's important you have a good one. And honestly, what's even better is that all you need to do is kill some enemies and they'll leave behind their soul for you to swallow it. Despite the system being better for the most part though, the grind of all artifact systems are just shit, and this one isn't an exception just because you can get them in the overworld. It's still dog ass. The gacha banners are great, maybe even better than Zenless Sun Zero if the 300 choose your own pity was non-standard. 80 convenes for a guaranteed is great, and it's for each banner. What absolutely amazes me is the event weapon banner is guaranteed whenever you get a 5-star, so there's no 50-50, you just get the featured weapon, which is crazy. No other gacha does this, and that makes this one the best one objectively. I don't hate Wuthering Waves. Despite all my jokes, I like the game, but I do think it has issues when compared to others. I know Zenless Sun Zero isn't the same scale, but if I'm merely comparing the dialogue scenes, I think it makes sense that they could make it a little bit more alive. Sure, that's a bit vague, but I think it's totally possible. And as the last thing, they need to fix the optimization. You can do it, Kuro. And with that, see ya.